Welcome to another exciting episode of Energy Talk with EMC. I am privileged to introduce architecture Kritika Muthukrishnan, a pioneer in green building and sustainable architecture. With over 80 landmark projects across India, she has guided developments to achieve the highest certifications under GRIHA, IGBC, LEED and EDGE, many of them at platinum and gold levels. Please join me in warmly welcome Kritika Muthukrishnan. Let's hear directly from her.
Hello everyone, I am architect Kritika Muthukrishnan. We often say that architecture shapes the society. But in today's world, architecture is not just about the shape of the buildings or the shape of the planet, but it's a lot more about sustainability and green concepts as well. Sustainability is the talk of the town, but it's no longer a concept just on paper. It's more about how the design works in reality, how it influences the green features that are incorporated in the buildings, and also how it impacts our economics and market conditions and all that. A certificate that we get, what is called as a green building certificate, is not just a piece of paper to be hung on a wall, but it also talks about the credibility of the green building that comes along with it and how that building performs in a day-to-day basis. So come, let us today explore how these green concepts translate into realities and how green working models are validated and how they are working in today's market conditions. So let us talk about concepts versus working models. A concept is a vision, an idea of how a building would function or how a building would work in a day-to-day basis in reality. So let us say if there is a school building and we say that this building is going to be a net zero energy building, what we are efficiently saying is that this school would produce all the renewable energy that it needs either on its own site or off site, but it would be functioning 100% using only renewable energy from renewable sources. So this is an idea, a concept. However, this concept needs to be translated into functional models, into the ground reality for this to actually affect the society that we are now living in. How does that happen is what we are going to see. So to begin with, the concept or the idea is important. Without the concept or the idea, the first step of the process cannot happen at all. So when you look at most of the green building rating systems, be it LEED or IGBC or GRIHA or EDGE or any other green rating system you take, you would see that one of the first things that we are talking about or looking at is how we are thinking of this building or the built environment from a design perspective. So we start at the drawing board and we think about strategies on how we can reduce say the amount of heat that is coming inside the building, how we increase the daylight that is coming inside the building, how we save water, what kind of air conditioning systems we are going to put, how efficient they are going to be, what kind of materials we will be using for the walls, for the roofs, for the floors, for the windows and the glass, what kind of shading devices we would propose, what kind of landscaping we will do. All of this has to be finalized to a large extent on the drawing board itself for the working model to transition to reality. The next stage of this is communication. Similar to how you may have a great idea, but if you do not communicate your idea well to another person, there is no way your idea is going to get implemented. In the same way, in green buildings, the communication of the idea becomes paramount. So the architect in and of themselves may have come up with an exquisite design which really works towards conserving the energy. But if the architect's design is not explained to the contractors properly, then that reality on ground would not happen. Let me give you an example of it. Let us say that an architect is designing a very good window that brings in good daylight, but at the same time it cuts off the heat and enhances the quality of the space. But let us say if the architect has forgotten to mention it properly in the drawing, or they have not communicated it clearly to the contractor, and the contractor, instead of going with the design that the architect did, he just goes for a standard typical window, then whatever the effort that the architect has put in, that would not have translated into the ground reality. So where these green building rating systems and all are coming in is to help in that communication to happen between the various project team members. This is also sometimes called as the integrative design process or the integrative chariot process. So once you have communicated well across all levels and across various disciplines, you would then be looking at the third stage of implementation. When it comes to implementation, there are many factors that are influencing what happens in green buildings in current times. These include things like market availability, cost factors, price factors, and also just basic common cultural acceptance. So you would see that in some of the places where say if you would take Kerala, where the use of laterite blocks is common, the same blocks, if they were proposed in some other location, say in Karnataka or something like that, the acceptance may be low, because people are not used to seeing this particular material being used as a building material. In the same way, the cost of say bringing in laterite blocks from somewhere in Kerala all the way to somewhere in Karnataka may also be an expensive exercise, where it does not make sense that you would use laterite blocks over there, and instead you may use some other alternative material over there. So when it comes to the implementation stage, these all factors become very important, and they all influence a lot of decision making. So the third stage would be to find out all these parameters that are affecting your building and come to the correct conclusions on which are the right materials and which are the right technologies to be used. Then the fourth thing is the final delivery. So a green building, even if you design it very well and you build it very well, if it is not operated in the way that it has to be operated, then there is no point in you having designed a green building at all. So let us say, for example, you have given a timer for all your exterior lights, wherein you say that if in the evening the lights will turn on at 6 o'clock, and by 10 in the night the lights will get turned off. This is to save power, to stop the lights from burning through the night when nobody is going to be using the building. But you installed the timer, but then you didn't make the setting and you handed over the building, and the person who took handover of the building does not know that you have to make this setting, then this entire technology that you have incorporated becomes a waste of time and a waste of money. So once again, here communication becomes paramount. You have to communicate clearly to the operations team as well, and see that all the green measures that you have designed and you have communicated and you have implemented, they are also once again validated in operation stage as well. So this entire process gains a lot of importance when it comes to doing green building design and green building certification. Then this is where green ratings like say LEED, IGBC and Griha, they will step in to help you, to handhold you through this process. So similar to how you might get a degree, let us say you have a degree in say you have Bachelor of Electronics as one of your degree, then you would have gotten this degree if and only if you went through 4 years of college, you put in your efforts, you cleared your examinations, you studied hard and all that. So similar to that, this green building certification is a process, and the certificate is just an end result, an acceptance or a recognition of you having gone through the process. So until and unless you go through this process of design and communication and implementation and validation, then the end result of the green certificate that you get would have no meaning whatsoever if you don't go through this entire process. So one of the biggest challenges that lies in our markets is that we tend to see a certificate as just another piece of paper or just another thing to be done as like a statutory compliance, I just have to do this sort of a thing. But this is not, that is only an end result of you having made all these changes in terms of sustainability. How all these changes really helps you that has to be understood by various project teams and various project members. So let us say if you went in for an efficient air conditioning systems, so as compared to a standard split systems, you went in for a VRF systems with higher efficiency, then the real value that it adds to the project is in terms of reducing the electricity consumption on a day-to-day basis during the operation. So what we are looking at is that we have to see the advantages that this green building process brings us rather than just the certificate. And these advantages have been quantified over a period of time. So definitely if you look at any green building that is there being constructed and built right now, if it is operated in the right fashion, it can achieve almost 25 to 30% savings in electricity, up to 40% savings in the water consumption that is happening, and also a lot more of savings in intangible terms, such as having better indoor environmental quality, better health and safety, better well-being of the people who are occupying the building. All of these are outcomes of the going through this green building process. This is something to be understood. So here I would like to share a couple of real market examples from our projects that we have worked on. So we have been working on multiple garment factories in India and Bangladesh, where we have seen not only new buildings but also in existing buildings that these green measures bring down the production cost in terms of rupees per piece. So it is not just about getting the certificate, but it's about more efficient manufacturing, wherein the manufacturers are able to produce more number of pieces at the same cost, or they are able to produce the same number of pieces at a lesser cost as compared to their peers who have not attempted any green building certification, or they have not taken steps towards incorporating green measures in their facilities. These are something that I have seen over the past 12 years of being in this green building industry, of running this organization. And the same way, we are also seeing that when you make efforts towards conserving water and all that, it helps, especially in times of droughts or when there are flood-like situations and all that. The rainwater harvesting structures that are constructed on the site, the recharge pits that are built, the storage tanks that are built, they have helped some of our projects tide over a really difficult time when their neighbors directly were suffering. So what I would like to conclude and say is that green buildings are not just a concept anymore. They are a working ground reality that everyone needs to examine and everyone needs to understand and go through. And this process is not just limited to, say, your architects or your green consultants or your MEP designers, but it has to be understood at a core level by each and every person, and together we can make this world and our country a better place. I would like to thank Energy Talks with EMC, Energy Management Center Kerala, for the wonderful opportunity. Thank you and have a great day.
Energy Talk with EMC, Arivinu Urjam Bagaram. Stay tuned and subscribe our YouTube channel, Energy Management Center YouTube channel.